Stop looking at me. Don't. I got it.
I'm just leaning in so that I can actually talk into the mic.
Fuck. Are you ready?
Are you?
Heyo, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, starting with Book 1 of Game of Thrones. As always, I am your co-host, Zach. Sitting here next to me is my brother, Nate.
Hey, yo.
And we're going to get all Game of Thrones-y up in your face, or your ears, I guess.
He's been practicing his voices for DMing in our D&D group.
They're getting good.
They're alright. That one wasn't one of your best, but it'll work,
If
I
you
suppose.
joined us last week, there was a bug on the table, and it was an immediate necessity for me to do that.
Oh, well.
If you joined us last week, we were reading John, I don't remember what number.
5?
John 5,
6.
6?
5. I was right the first time.
John 5.
Chapter 41.
Chapter 41. And for the most part, John was being angsty.
John was lovely.
And
he was a good friend using his mind and wisdom.
And then at the end,
Even if he was
showed
acting
his
very
mind
teenage.
and wisdom and helped to convince Maester Aemon to pass Sam through so that Sam could become his personal steward.
I dreamed I was old.
That was horrible. Just the memory, not your impression. Well, I mean, it wasn't spot on, but...
Dang.
In the off time, we have gotten some correspondence from our favorite not-so-silent sisters who do not detest us after our difference of opinions. In fact, they said that they loved it, and so we are appreciative of that. And... anyway, they gave us congratulations as we will be appearing on London radio, which we're pretty excited about.
Yeah,
over
we're
in
working
the UK.
out details and stuff, so
And,
that's coming soon, though, very soon.
We will definitely have some dates and be able to give you guys more information as we get it, but as of right now, we're just kind of in the foundation
so thank you
process.
very much.
But we appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. We're super excited to be on London Airwaves.
And the accompanying meme, spectacular.
Oh, absolutely. I always appreciate a good Always Sunny meme. And so, anyway, as far as John, they
gave us some inductees.
I really like their first point that they make, though, which is when, and this email that we got here was from Brandy. So Brandy says that the first time I read these books was back in 2011, which was quite a bit ago. And she says she remembers hating Alistair Thorne.
Yeah.
Reading this 8 years later, I actually rather like him. Of course, he's an ass, but I would be too if I was responsible for training all these obnoxious obnoxious green boys. You can really see that the teenager attitude, and fuck, it's insufferable. John is so much like Arya in this chapter. That's stupid. Both so stubborn and insolent. And so, yeah, they gave us their inductees.
Yeah. So about Alistair Thorne, I think that just goes to, once again, show how, which we'll get to the other part of their email at the end of the episode because it's regarding today's chapter, but the way how good of a writer Martin is that even his characters that are assholes, they're terrible people, Joffrey and fucking the shit Cersei pulls, there's just these terrible people, but they're great characters. Yeah. You love to hate them, and you can even empathize with them because, he's a pissed off guy who is not happy with the current king down in King's Landing. He's up at the wall because of it, and so he has to get stuck training all these dumbasses and these criminals all the time. I'd be a miserable fuck, too.
Yeah, Tyrion does also note that Alistair Thorne isn't much of shit of anything, so... I mean, I think the guy's just kind of overall miserable and knows it. But anyway, they're inductees for John 5. Unscepted Brandy inducts Maester Aemon for two reasons. One, he reminds me of Dumbledore, and who doesn't love Albus? Which, abso-fucking-lutely, that wizened old, looking right into your soul. Yeah. Aemon especially, even though he's blind, he's got that, he's piercing right through you. Mostly, however, the passage of him saying he often spends half the night with ghosts is very haunting. Of course, we don't yet know who he really is, But that line sets the mood of his character and his life. I really like that George R.R. Martin makes him blind. It's like he lives in an inescapable darkness of his memories, which is just such a fucking
He's almost
sentence.
like a non-magical three-eyed raven.
Yeah.
And he's very...
With just the history he's lived through and his significance. I would
Mm-hmm.
love to read more about his time at the Wall with the one and only Brendan Rivers, one of my favorite characters in the A Song of Ice and Fire world, which... I'm right there with you, Brandy. Brendan Rivers is, I would name him probably in my top 3 all-time favorite characters. And she also says, oh, and R.I.P. Peter Vaughn.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, absolutely.
And Unsepta Afton.
Yes, Unsepta is going to go against what she normally does and will invite the chapter's point of view to the sisterhood, the one and only Jon Snow. Yes, he's an angsty teenager in these early chapters, but he still shows signs of wisdom that takes Aemon aback. His eloquence and reasoning for Sam becoming a man of the Night's Watch probably solidifies him in Aemon's view as a potential future leader of the Night's Watch.
See, she put it much better than you did.
You know... Whatever.
With
Thanks
that,
for your help.
I can deal with his
appreciate
eggs.
how well worded you placed it, and that way you finally convinced Zach a little bit to at least deal with the angst of the chapter.
So those were that was our recap of John 5. Those were the Not So Silent Sisters thoughts and inductees on John chapter 5, John's 5.
But this week,
I can't fucking talk. John's 5th
can.
chapter. Thank you for sending those in. They also had some thoughts on this week's chapter, which we will get to in due time. This week,
Tyrion 6.
Tyrion 6, which last we left Tyrion. It wasn't his chapter, but we saw the combat.
Through Catelyn's eyes.
Trial by combat, where Bronn basically led Ser Vardis on a wild goose chase, tiring him out until he was able to, one, get his sword broken, which... is just that I think shocked me the most.
Now, is that sword made by Tobomont?
Supposedly it was made in King's Landing, and that's kind of what I'm thinking.
'Cause
I
know
expected better craftsmanship.
I know Jon Arryn went and visited him, but Lysa Arryn had this sword made for him.
So it actually just struck the tip of my penis like lightning real quick. Do you think she said the sword was intended for Jon? Was it intended to break? Do you think?
Yo, like
and,
if he was gonna have fight, like
and get him struck down as another means of.
I mean, granted, how many swords? It would really depend on how many swords can just deliver a blow to a marble statue like that and not snap.
True, but I don't. It felt very odd and
it was very pointed.
Shocking that his sword broke like that. Mm-hmm. So maybe that was another one of Liza's sort of like the Not So Silent Sisters made the Harry Potter reference. I will too with Draco when he's trying to kill Dumbledore and he does like the poison amulet and the bottle of wine. He's just got all these backup plans. Maybe Liza did too. But anyway. We open this chapter where Tyrion and Bronn are currently taking shelter on
the side of the high road.
Off the high road, and Tyrion is gathering dead wood for a fire.
While the horses drink from the stream nearby. And
so Tyrion essentially is asking, because he knows dick all about how to start a fire. His men always did it for him. And Bronn laughs at him, basically saying, are you so hungry to die? A fire is going to draw everyone to us in a matter of moments. And so he tells him that I intend to survive this journey. So the way we're going to do that is by traveling hard and fast to get out of the mountains ASAP.
Quick as possible, get to the river.
Travel at night, hole up during the day, avoid the road where possible, make no noise, light no fires. We're going to this thing.
Tyrion says that's a wonderful plan, but he intends to live. And Bronn laughs at this, thinking, you're going to outlive me, dwarf. And Tyrion basically lays out that riding the horses to death isn't going to help them any. He doesn't want to be all sore and tired. They're already watching.
Riding hard and fast at night is a pretty easy way to fall down the mountain and die. And so, he says that if their mounts die up here, if they ride them too hard, they're fucked. Yeah. That's the only way out for them. So he says, if truth be told, the clans are probably going to find us regardless of what we do. They're all around us. This is their land. So Tyrion, basically talking about the fire. Tyrion's down for a fire. And so Bronn says, then we're dead men, Lannister. And Tyrion says, which is why I'd rather die comfortably with a warm by a fire, my belly full. And so he asks Bronn, do you think you could scrounge up some game, maybe go hunt a little something, roast over the fire? So Bronn says he can find me, and then Bronn gets dark and gives Tyrion this really dark look and says, I should leave you here with your fool's fire. With your horse, I'd have twice the chance to make it. And what would you do then, dwarf?
And I'd die.
Die, most likely. Like, I mean...
And he's like, you don't think I'll do it?
You don't think I'll do it? You don't think I will?
You think I'll do it right now. Watch me. Watch me.
Bro.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
And Tyrion is basically like... He breaks down the whole reason that he's there.
You do it in an instant.
Yeah,
like you didn't hesitate to, and we learned that it was Bronn who put Chicken out of his misery. And I actually flipped back through because it's in an off-scene fight that Chicken dies.
Yeah,
we see the very first fight and he survives it, and then when we have Catelyn's next chapter and they're getting the escort, she thinks of it. We don't learn that it was from an arrow to the belly, but. Yeah, Chicken took an arrow to the belly, and Bronn, essentially thinking that his moaning was going to draw
him by the hair, and shanked him in the throat,
right under the ear. Yeah, did his dirk right in mercilessly, and so Bronn says that he was good as dead, but afterward he had told Catelyn that Chicken just died of his arrow to the belly wound, and so Bronn, sort of defending himself, says he was good as dead, and his moaning was going to attract them. And he was no friend, only a man I rode with. Make no mistake, I fought for you, but I do not love you. So Bronn is basically saying, I'm here to work.
I'm a sellsword.
I ain't here to make friends. He's that guy in the work office that's like, I ain't here to be your friend.
I'm here to do my job.
I'm here to do my job.
Don't talk to me.
Bronn's all about that money.
But Tyrion is...
Tyrion's on it. It was your blade I needed, not your love.
Exactly.
And Bronn laughs and says that you're bold as a sellsword, but he asks how Tyrion knew Bronn would step. But how did you know?
Yeah, Tyrion laughs at him. Knew. I took a dice roll and rolled with that. I had seen, I had a fairly decent idea. And during all this, he's trying to make a fire. He had borrowed the flint from Bronn there.
Well, because he breaks it down and says, you and Chicken helped take me captive at the inn, but not for lord or duty or honor like all the other fools. You would hope Lady Catelyn would reward you, mayhaps even take you into her service. And then he asks if Bronn has a flint, and Bronn tosses him one, and he goes on saying, but you didn't know the Starks. Lord Eddard is proud, honorable, and honest, and his lady wife is worse. She would have paid you a coin or two for your services, surely, pressed it into your hand with a look of distaste.
But you're too much of a scumbag
But you're too much scum. Starks look for courage, loyalty, and honor in the men that they have serving them, and you and Chicken are nothing but low-born scum. And,
Bronn almost pretends to be offended by that.
Yeah.
But he's like, what? Really? You are, though. Like, come on. Who are you kidding?
But you're not stupid, he says, that at the Eyrie, you saw Lady Catelyn had no more need for you. But I did, and Lannisters never lack for gold. So when the moment came, I counted on you being smart enough to know where your best interests lay, and happily for me, you did. And so, there you go. That's Tyrion's pretty much stone cold logic. It wasn't a known fact. It was a chance he took, which we knew this as he was doing it, but...
So Bronn finally gets fed up with Tyrion trying to start the fire, and he jumps in and lights it almost immediately, to which Tyrion says, see, and you're dead useful to have around. Like,
with a sword in your hand, you almost match Jaime. So he asks him, what is it you want, Bronn? Gold, land, women? Keep me alive and you'll have it. And Bronn asks him, and what happens if you die? And Tyrion says, then I'll have at least one mourner whose grief is sincere. The gold ends when I do. And so, they come to this agreement.
Yeah.
Bronn stands and agrees, saying that my sword is yours then, but don't expect me to bend the knee and milord you every time you take a shit. I'm no man's toady. And so Tyrion expects that from Bronn. That's
but he also mentions, is that where he says, if anybody offers to pay you more, remember, I'll match it.
Yeah.
I like living.
Because Bronn says, I'm no man's toady, and Tyrion replies, you're also no man's friend, and so I know you will turn on me in a heartbeat should it be in your best interests. But remember, I will always pay more than what the assassin, the cutthroat, whatever, is willing to pay you to do it. So, yeah, I'm a fan of life. And so Tyrion then asks if Bronn thinks he could, go find them some dinner because he's hungry.
Yeah.
And so it says about an hour later, Bronn comes back. Bronn is back, and there's a goat turning over the fire, and camp is set. The horses are good. Everything's chill. And so Bronn is sharpening his sword, and he's saying that he'll take the first watch, even though it may be kinder to both Bronn and Tyrion to just let the clansmen kill them in their sleep. But Tyrion thinks that the clansmen will be there far before sleep comes. And he looks at the goat, thinking probably that the smell of the cooking meat is going to attract them.
And Bronn points out that he seems to think, Tyrion, you have a plan. And Tyrion mentions it's more of a hope. It's not as thought out, but I'm rolling with something. Bronn's not thrilled that he's gambling with their lives, though, with that. And he mentions Tyrion giving the sack of gold to Mord.
Yeah, and we learned that Tyrion actually did. That's when we get one of the first, a Lannister always pays his debts, and we learned that even Mord was shocked when Tyrion had tossed him the purse. Tyrion kept the silver, but gave the promised gold.
Yes.
And it was way more than Mord could ever hope to earn as a turnkey. And so then he invited Mord to Casterly Rock. But on this reread, where we've had the post, and we've discussed it a lot about Tyrion possibly being the villain, he invites Mord to Casterly Rock to get the rest of what he owes him.
Yeah,
he would have him killed,
right?
Right?
He would torture him. Oh, well, that's it, because he's saying, if you ever feel you no longer wish to serve Lysa, come on over to Casterly Rock, and I'll give you...
In earlier reads, I always took it as,
He'll give him more
just
gold.
Just to spite Lysa, he would give him a job, a simple job.
No, but I definitely think
come to Casterly Rock, you dumb fool, and...
You'll get the rest of what I owe you.
Yeah.
And because he had said he's... I think that's when we got another Lannister pays his debts, was in the previous Tyrion chapter, when he was getting kicked and beaten by Mord. He says, I'll kill you, you fucker. And he says, I always pay my debts. I'll remember.
I guess I never picked up on other reads.
Well, because didn't it even mention that he said smiling at him? That's good.
So Bronn asks Tyrion what he will do if they actually do reach the Trident, and Tyrion says, well, a whore, a featherbed, and a flagon of wine to start, and then probably on to Casterly Rock or to King's Landing. I have some questions concerning a certain dagger that need answering. And so Bronn says, oh, so you did tell it true. It wasn't your blade. And Tyrion smiles at him and says, do I look like a liar? And I fucking love that. But they begin to settle in. Tyrion's trying to get some sleep. And he says that their friends are taking their time. And so he begins whistling to... He's just being sort of obnoxious and announcing their presence, trying not to be threatening at all. And it says that as he's looking around, the night reminds him doodle 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 of no other story, and the girl he first bedded for his first time ever.
Well, yeah, because he was whistling a certain tune and asked if Bronn knew about that song. And Bronn says, he recognizes it from inns or taverns or something. So Tyrion tells him the name of the song, and that it's a very sweet but sad song.
Yeah.
And that the girl that he first bedded used to sing it to him.
So, as we're full spoiler reread, we know this is the story of Tysha.
This is the story of Tysha.
Tysha is one of the biggest foundation blocks of Tyrion's character development, is this story here. So we learned that Jaime and Tyrion were out near Lannisport, and she came running out of the woods with two men following her, yelling curses and threats, and her clothes were all torn. So Jaime chased off the rapers while Tyrion took her to the nearest inn and fed her. Tyrion was 13 at the time, and they just had a splendid fucking day.
Yeah.
And it says that the wine went to his head, and he was super nervous, but they ended up sharing a bed. And afterwards, she kissed him and sang her little song, and by morning, he was in love. And so Tyrion is sort of quiet for a minute, and then admits to Bronn that he married her. I ended up marrying her, and Bronn laughs sort of and says, how did you manage that, the son of Tywin,
big lord?
And he says, a few lies, 50 pieces of silver, and a drunken septon, and for our fortnight I got her a cottage because obviously it wasn't safe to take her.
And we played man and
wife, and then the septon sobered and confessed all to my father, and that was the end of my marriage. And Bronn asks, he sent the girl away? And Tyrion gives the best part of the story, I guess.
Yeah,
He says, better than that. First he had Jaime tell me the truth. The girl was a whore, you see. Jaime had arranged the whole thing. All of it, the riders, the rapers, the road. He thought it was time I had a woman, and he paid double for a maiden, knowing it was my first time. After Jaime's confession, Lord Tywin brought my wife in and gave her to his guards. They paid her fair, a silver piece for each man. How many whores command that sort of price? And he says that you can just tell as he's saying it how
with acid tones.
Much this hurts him. And he says he sat me down and bade me watch, and by the end she had so much silver the coins slipped through her hands and were rolling on the floor. And it says the smoke was stinging his eyes, so he turns away at this point. Lord Tywin had me go last. He gave me a gold coin to pay her with because I'm a Lannister and worth more. And so Bronn is back to sharpening his sword at this point, and he says,
"No, this line from him, from Bronn. Do you think that hints at his past? He says he would have killed the man, whether he was 3, 13, or 30. He would have killed the man that tried to make him do that. What Tyrion?
Well, I think he was saying the amount of men." Whether it was 3 men, 13 or 30, the amount of men that fucked his wife, essentially. But no, I think it's just sort of painting Bronn, where that's his gut response is he's just gonna kill his way out. It's
okay. I wasn't sure. Maybe because he's mentioning because that's what I.
If anything, I think there's more to infer here slightly because.
Well, just thinking that maybe he had a wife that he lost or something.
Yeah,
and that's that he's saying whether it was 3, I'd have killed the man.
I think if anything, Bronn is just really hearing the pain in Tyrion's voice, and the smoke stinging his eyes. I think it's, partially smoke, partially Tyrion's getting teary-eyed. And Tyrion turns to face him when he says that and says, you may get the chance one day. Remember what I told you, Bronn. A Lannister always pays his debts. Which, again, full spoiler, as we know, Tyrion kills his father. Yeah. Bronn doesn't get the chance. Tyrion does it, and he does kill the man that did that to him.
He pays his debt.
Yeah. And so Tyrion says that he's going to try to sleep, and Bronn should wake him if they're about to die. And Tyrion does sleep, and he dreams of the Sky Cell.
Yeah.
And in it, he is the gaoler, not the prisoner, and he is big with a leather strap in his hand, and he is hitting his father, driving him back toward the abyss.
Have you seen the Avengers where Thor has where Peter Dinklage is in there?
Yeah.
That's what I thought of when he said big. Because he's a giant dwarf in the
Avengers.
And so I was like, I just picture him with the leather strap hitting Tywin in the Sky Cell. So that's where
I always think of Rick and Morty, the interdimensional cable episode, really quick when they're flipping through. There's a version of Game of Thrones where Tyrion's big and everyone else is really little. And it just makes me LOL. But, I mean, clearly that's very just Freudian. He's the torture his father did, the Sky Cell recently. Yeah. That dream is pretty straightforward, but he's suddenly awakened by Bronn giving a low and urgent Tyrion.
And I really like that.
He's
just
instantly
the mood that's set right there. Yeah. He was woken immediately by the low, urgent warning. Tyrion. The fire was burning low in just
to
embers.
And shadows are creeping in all around them. So Bronn has his dirk and his sword in one hand, and Tyrion stays him with a hand, and he rises loudly proclaims, "Come, share our fire. It's cold. You're welcome to some of our goat."
And the reply back is, "Our mountain, our goat."
Yeah, that from the trees.
And so Tyrion immediately agrees. Your goat?
Yep.
Yes, this is your goat.
Who are you? With whom am I speaking? Who are you?
And we get the wonderful introduction.
Yeah. When you go to meet your gods, tell them that Gunther, son of Gurn of the Stone Crows, sent you. And so out steps a thin man with a horned helmet and a long knife. And then, not to be outdone, the original voice that said, "Our mountain, our goat."
Shagga, son of Dolph, and he's just this. He's the mountain.
Massive and slow and strong, he seemed, all in skins, with a club in his right hand and an axe in his left.
Just clonking them fuckers together.
Others start calling out their names, but Tyrion really isn't paying attention. He says there were 10 at least.
Yeah, he got Khan and Torik and Jagat.
And so I love this because this just shows the adaptability of Tyrion, and I've always loved this scene. I am Tyrion, son of Tywin.
Yes,
of Clan Lannister of the Rock, Lions of the Rock. Like he changes that
to their something they can understand.
Yeah, Norman.
And so he mentions that some of them had knives and spears and other pitchforks and shit.
Oh yeah, they're all armed in one way or another. But he says, "We'll pay for the goat we ate," and I like. Fucking brilliant. Like, we'll pay for the property of yours.
And so the one that he remembers being called Gunthor, who he's assuming is the chief, just the way he's acting and stepping forward, asks Tyrion, like, what do you have? Tyrion, son of Tywin. And I like that he refers to him as son of Tywin.
There is silver in my purse. This hauberk should fit Khan quite nicely. It's too big for me. And this battle axe is way too unwieldy for me, but would shoot Shaga far better than that wood axe that he carries. And so Khan points out that all of it is ours anyway. And Gunthor says, Khan speaks right. Your steel, your...
basically, everything. We can kill you right now. It's already ours.
Everything is ours. Won. So you have nothing to give but your life. How would you like to die, Tyrion, son of Tywin?
And this is where we get, and the show took it as well, but...
One of Tyrion's best lines.
The original and best delivery, because it's here for the clansmen, and especially Shaga, who we'll see loves it.
But it's also so truly Tyrion.
It's so, exactly, and that's what I think is so endearing with Shaga, is that he's a sick fuck too. And so when Tyrion is saying this, he's like, he's like a southern Tormund.
I really like the way that Tyrion twists this too, because I think he's basically just saying, how would you like it if I killed you? Like, haha, like how would you like that? Instead, Tyrion's taking it as, how would you like what's your ideal way to die? Right. And so Tyrion answers, in my own bed, with a belly full of wine and a maiden's mouth around my cock at the age of 80. And Shaga begins to start laughing. And Gunthor commands his men, do it. So kill Bronn, take the little one, and he can entertain the mothers and milk the goats. And so Bronn immediately jumps
to his feet and just says, who dies first? It's like,
Tyrion, no. And he says, hear me, Gunthor, son of Gurn. My house is rich and powerful. If you see us through the mountains, my lord father will shower you with gold and riches. And so there's some talk among the clansmen, and Gunthor eventually settles that gold
is worthless.
Gold is as worthless as a half man's promises. And so Tyrion
he just right here, like they could have at any point just shanked him in the throat, but he calls them cowards.
Yeah.
He says, how many times do you hide behind the rocks as the Knights of the Vale ride past you?
Yeah.
And they do not like that.
One of them jabs at him a little bit, and he even shits on their weapons. Are these the best weapons you can steal? My father's smith's shit better steal. And so Shaga starts roaring, and we get it for the first time, and it won't be the last, that he will cut off Tyrion's manhood and feed it to the goats. And he offers to do that to quite a lot of people in this series, but Gunthor raises a hand and says, no, I would hear him.
Because now he's talking some bold statements.
The mothers are hungry, and steel fills more mouths than gold. What will you give us for your lives, Tyrion, son of Tywin? Swords, lances, mail?
And Tyrion says, all that and more, Gunthor, son of Gurn. I will give you the Vale of Arryn.
Oh, and that's where the chapter ends. So, that's a pretty bold promise.
That's a pretty hardcore promise.
But with what he just went through with Lysa Arryn, I'm pretty sure he's planning on killing
absolutely
every single person that's at the Eyrie right now. Yeah. So, I really like it. I almost... of all the storylines that, I don't know if they get forgotten, but, the clansmen getting the Vale would be something fucking wild.
It'd be pretty crazy.
Because I know Tywin ends up sort of paying off the debt and arming them and sending them off once Tyrion gets fucked up at the Battle of Blackwater. Mm-hmm. But, I'm surprised that Gunthor or Shaga don't call on this Vale of Arryn.
I want the Vale of Arryn promise, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, I thought it was a great chapter. It's a lot of Tyrion-Bronn relationship building. And just how sort of in tune they are. They understand what the other person is. Yep. And Bronn knows Tyrion's a pampered little shit who's used to getting his way. But Bronn also knows that Tyrion's extremely rich, toes the moral line, and usually tends to back up the shit he says. And
right.
Tyrion sees a very valuable sword ally and
kind
of
exactly
hired anything, really.
Like a hired friend.
Like at this point, whatever Tyrion really needs, Bronn can.
So, do you have an inductee?
I do. Actually, I'll just say it right now. We the Not So Silent Sisters got some inductees as well for this chapter, and mine was stolen. So I'm gonna change mine up, I think.
Dang.
And
I didn't read their inductees for this chapter.
Oh, you haven't yet?
I don't like to read them until after we've recorded.
Yeah, so maybe give yours first.
Okay, so I didn't know you were gonna turn it off. Right then. I'll give mine 2. I'm gonna give it to Tyrion because the quick-wittedness, not used just to be a smartass, but to like you said, change that tone from being Tyrion Lannister, to Tyrion, son of Tywin Lannister, and all that shit.
He's so adaptable.
But that and him being so bold to call them cowards and to point out their flaws to the point where he talked them into at least listening. And it's the same thing he did to Bronn way back in that chapter, or not even just Bronn, but all the men, when he made the joke about sleeping with Catelyn. I'm game if she is.
Yeah.
And they all laughed, and he says, I was in.
Yeah.
Right there. When Gunthor says, wait, he's in.
Yeah.
And so that's all he needed for this. Did you think of one?
Yeah. That one was good. I like that. I love Tyrion so much. My inductee this chapter is going to Lord Tywin Lannister for just his overall how much presence he has in Tyrion.
His first physical appearance is in a dream.
First couple chapters. Not even the physical, just his as many times as he's talked about the power and influence, even for a first-time reader at this point. You understand imposing. That Tywin is a fucking player.
He's doing some shit.
And so I'm super excited for his actual introduction. But just the amount of times he's getting referenced with Ned Stark and all the shit in King's Landing, and then here with Tyrion all the time. Tyrion is wondering how Tywin's responding.
He's the father of Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
So, I'm giving mine to Tywin. I'm sure I'll do it again, but it was, I really like
before we get into the Not So Silent Sisters email there, I did also get a message on Twitter that I wanted to bring up, and so that was from @GoblinQueen, where the O is a 0 instead of an O, and she's only back on episode for Cat 4, which is a ways back right now, but she's making her way through.
Excellent.
She just let us know that she's enjoying the podcast, which I said thanks,
Sweet.
Because that's awesome. But first of all, she's from Italy.
Hey!
Fucking, what up, Italy?
Hello.
Like, we didn't even know there were people listening in Italy,
I
so
did
that's
not know
fucking
that.
sick
Yeah,
as
that
shit.
is awesome.
And she's also a big fan, and I thought I'd mention it, especially since we're recording this chapter, that the Tyrion is a Targaryen theory.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something you subscribe to? Do you think that's a...
I do not, but I really like all the evidence for it with Ares and Joanna.
And that's she specifically pointed out how closely the timelines really do work out for
Yeah,
everything.
definitely.
And with the raping of Joanna and the hatred Tywin feels towards Tyrion, but because he still has that one, because in the books he's got the 2 different eyes.
Yeah.
He's got that aspect of Joanna.
Yeah.
And so he also sees the Lannister part of him, and it drives him fucking
ballistic. I like all the evidence there is for it. I just don't subscribe to it because I'm not a fan of sort of everybody's a secret Targaryen. I know in the books we do have the dragon must have 3 heads, so there could potentially be 3 riders, but we've also got Fagon.
Right, I was going to say between Jon, Fagon, Dany, we've got plenty of Targaryens.
I feel like
Tyrion is a Blackfire. So.
I feel like Tyrion just has a much larger role to play in the Lannister legacy, other than just killing his father. And so I really like Tyrion as this beacon sort of in the Lannister family of.
But what if he is the one to make it collapse?
Well, then
and that's
that
even
bigger
better.
Role
as well,
it.
playing the villain where
he
he's
absolutely
actually
destroyed House
house,
Lannister,
which is a disgusting house anyway at this point.
But I do absolutely see the evidence for it. I understand.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the theory. I don't actually subscribe to it and think he is, and I don't. Sorry, I read it a while ago and don't have it in front of me. I don't think that the Goblin Queen also thinks he actually may be, but I forget. She may think that. And, to each his own.
Yeah,
I don't personally
definitely
think that he will turn out to be a Targaryen, but I love the theory. It's a lot of fun, and I'm the biggest sucker for any theory, and that one has a lot of good evidence.
No, that one, if that one ends up being true, I won't be upset by it.
No,
and that one would probably shock me a lot.
Well, because it makes so much sense, but it seems too far-fetched to quite be something within the scope.
Yeah, I just feel like Tyrion is sort of on this different trajectory, where the Targaryen lineage obviously is important, but I think for Targaryen lineage, we've got that wrapped up in the Jon Snow and Dany and the Fagon stories, so... But
I'm okay with whatever happens there.
Again,
so.
It's a cool theory. I definitely get it.
So, at Goblin Queen, thank you so much for messaging
me.
Get us some inductees in the future. We'd love to hear them when you're caught up. Or if, you have some past ones that you just feel you need to get off your chest, let us know. Anyway, I think we know you're ready for some Not So Silent Sisters.
Not So Silent Sisters gave us some thoughts on this chapter. Brandy said that she really loves this chapter, mostly because of the Tysha story that Tyrion tells Bronn. It's one of the few times we see the real Tyrion, and it's pretty awesome how early in the series we hear this story and the impact that it'll have later in the books with Where Do the Whores Go, obviously. It's truly heartbreaking, and isn't it remarkable how events like this stay with you for the rest of your life? Again, just a reminder of how incredible George R.R. Martin's writing is. The consequence of love is a great running theme throughout the book. Again, Jon Snow and Ygritte.
Yeah.
All that. Lyanna and Rhaegar.
And love crossed that when I was reading certain parts, a lot with Bronn and Tyrion, how Bronn does not love him. And there was a lot, it was also on my mind when I was reading through this chapter, actually, the love theme.
And she says that this also sets the tone for the type of man that Tywin Lannister is. And let's be honest, after Tywin dies, Westeros lost the greatest leader of ages.
True.
And damn, Tyrion already talking about killing Tywin. We get arguably one of the top 5 greatest Tyrion lines in this chapter as well. In my own bed with a belly full of wine and a maiden's mouth around my cock at the age of 80. And so, we've got their inductees. Unsepta Brandy invites the ever-entertaining Shaga, son of Dolph.
Yeah!
Who doesn't love that dude? He's fucking hilarious. Little boy man, you mock my axe after I chop off your manhood and feed it to the goats. Just hysterical. And then
I've got Unsepta... So, since Unsepta Brandy keeps stealing her inductees, Unsepta Afton will one-up her and invite the general leaders of the clans of the Vale. Even though they are different clans and some hate each other more than LSU fans hate Bama fans, they still work together when there are strangers in their neck of the woods. They also show that they can, for the most part, put aside their differences for the benefit of the mountains of the Vale.
Yeah, they're a little more civilized wildlings, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they can band together for the common good of let's root these motherfuckers out of our mountain.
This is our land.
Yeah,
and honestly, I think that's what they really are. And actually, there's also the Northern Clansmen, which are minor houses that Stannis goes and recruits a bunch of them later on.
Yeah.
And I think it's similar to those, but these ones are much more wildling-esque.
And these ones don't have dope snowshoes.
Truth.
But anyway,
I think that's a great one. Bring in the whole clan of them because they all do. Other than Shaga and fucking other one, Dolph.
Gunthor?
Gunthor. Yeah. Dolph. What the Dolph. Gunthor. Other than those two, we don't know the other clan leaders right now, but they are there, and they all are, like she said, representing that. So, real quick, we're not huge sports fans, so hopefully somebody out there got your LSU and Bama reference, because
hey, I like the word Bama. I'm gonna say Bama a lot. And anyway, Afton, I feel you on the theft of your inductees, because
holy shit.
But anyway,
you go first most of the time.
Thank you so much for writing in. We always appreciate hearing from the Not So Silent Sisters.
If you would like us to read out your inductee,
as they say at the end of every email, all men must die, but we are not men. Thank you for writing in. If you would like to have something read out as well on an episode, you can get a hold of us at one of many social media.
Starting with our Gmail, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. We have Facebook, facebook.com/brotherhoodpodcast. We are on Instagram at Brotherhood Without. Zach is on Twitter at Carstark92.
Yeah.
And then I am on the at Manners Without Twitter, which is the Brotherhood's page. And we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate and reviews. Leave those. We love reading those as well. Otherwise, we're on basically wherever you may want to listen to a podcast.
So, yeah, this was a really good chapter. Next week we're reading at our
I've got it right
12,
here.
I believe.
11, I believe.
11
is correct. Not 12.
11.
It's going to be Eddard 11.
Eddard 11.
And it's going to be splendid. He's filling in for the king, and he's delivering some justice.
Lord Beric Dondarrion.
Ooh, here we go.
So we're going to get some interesting Ned rulings, and welcome to Judge Judy.
Okay.
No, that's the People's Court theme. Anyway.
Whatever.
I'm mixing up my judge shows.
You need to figure your shit out.
I hate it. Don't you dare tell me to figure it out. It's IHOP who needs to figure it out.
IHOP does need to figure it out.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We hope you will read along with us. Send us in your stuff for Net 11 or any of the following chapters after that. We're getting almost
to the end of the first book, everybody.
Yeah,
we're almost heading towards the next book.
Then we get to be in a storm of swords. But anyway, that's it for us.
We're
out this bitch.
Harris.
Peace.
What's up, everybody? It's Nate here from Brotherhood Without Manners. I'm just going to sneak in and tell you really quick about this sweet app called Podcoin. If you listen to podcasts at all, especially Brotherhood Without Manners, all you have to do is download this app, download our podcast, put in the code Brotherhood, and you will get 300 coins, and you can spend those coins on all sorts of cool stuff. Gift cards, donating to charity, whatever. So give it a try. Let us know if you like it. We really enjoy using it for our podcast listening. You can get free stuff, so why not take advantage of something you already do?